Hi, I'm Adam DeSanctis. Welcome to MBA Asks the Expert, a series where we discuss a timely and important issue with a mortgage industry leader. Today, I'm here with MeridianLink's Dumas, Director of Data Product Management for Part 2 of our ongoing series with MeridianLink. Part 1 of our series tackled AI and how automation tools are speeding up the mortgage origination process. Today, we're talking about more ways to accelerate underwriting. Chris, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for the invite and the opportunity to share some of the exciting things we're doing over here at MeridianLink, Adam.
Chris, I'm really looking forward to talking to you again, so let's jump right in. What are some of the larger pain points in today's mortgage process, and how can Insight for Mortgage contribute to solving them?
Yeah, I think it's a great question a lot of our industry leaders deal with. I think some of the main pain points as the market fluctuates and volumes fluctuates are really understanding how do I get the most out of the opportunity that's presented to me? How do I create a more frictionless process for the consumer and on the wholesale market? How do I alleviate fatigue in existing origination systems? And how do I capitalize on missed opportunities? And I think what it comes down to is being able to transform data into information, because we're going to leverage that information to make decisions, to accelerate processes, and to really create a better process. And then understanding where things are in process so we don't miss those opportunities once they're presented to our business, but we're able to capitalize on them and ensure that we're not losing out because of process friction, or anything that we can do to make a more streamlined process. It's going to help us grow our business and ultimately better service our consumers.
I think you laid that out nicely. So what are the immediate solutions that Insight for Mortgage can provide MeridianLink mortgage customers?
Yeah, great question. And so really taking that information and turning it into action. So being able to set benchmarks across some tactical metrics that you actually have within your control, rather than looking backwards at some of the incumbent financial metrics that we see. And then going from leveraging that benchmarking to identify opportunity to actually creating actionable information-based measurement, and then enabling our teams to execute against those measurements and really drive that impact back to our consumer or to our wholesale engine. And that includes understanding our borrowers and our buyers. So knowing where we're successful and where there's opportunity to be more successful, and really taking a holistic and efficient view of our origination pipeline. So we know where things are getting stuck. We know where we have opportunities to alleviate friction. And we're not just looking at redundant metrics or backward-looking reports, but we're actually leveraging insights to drive actions and change our strategies and behavior.
Yeah, the market's always changing, of course, and lenders come in all sizes and business models. So how will Insight for Mortgage empower smaller businesses to compete with those larger institutions that are able to invest more in their data teams?
Yeah, great question, Adam. And I think for a lot of these smaller businesses or FIs, they can get stuck in the data aspect of things. And so we know that through the application origination and even on the wholesale side, there's tens of thousands of data points that we can turn to try to glean information and insights from to better our consumer experience and better our business. I think that's one of the things that Insight does immediately. And so we remove the tenacity that's needed to transform data into information, and we present information to business users. And so when I think about those smaller institutions that are trying to compete in a broader marketplace, it's really alleviating the pressure, the skill set needed, the investment needed to get to the information that we all need to grow and enhance our business. And so that's something that Insight does effectively on day one.
Day one and real time is important there. And so in what way will real-time industry benchmarks help financial institutions create those unique solutions to their institution's problems? Having as much data as possible is nice, but having the right data is what helps lenders stand out.
Absolutely. And I think that when we talk about benchmarking, it's really important to know what it can do and what it can't do. And so benchmarking can really help us focus our strategy and look at things we're doing really well, better than our peer group, or looking at opportunities to improve our business and how we deliver value to the consumer. And so, for example, I may look at benchmarking over last week in terms of processing times, right? And say, okay, I'm less than my peer group, and start digging into why that's happening. and really understanding the why. And so benchmarking helps us focus on those opportunities by leveraging the vast amount of data that we have available to really focus our efforts and to drive better strategies, better execution, and really enable our teams and our operations and our processes to deliver the most value to the consumer. And whether that be through processing times, whether it be through growth rates, whether it be through pricing models, these are all benchmarks that are delivered in insight, channel, source. They're a lot more actionable than what we typically think about in terms of benchmarking, which are kind of those financial performance metrics that we see in industry reporting. And so being able to understand how my levers are actually having an impact on my business relative to my peer group gives me the opportunity to adjust in a much more profound and actionable way. And with Insight, we take those benchmarks and those opportunities, and then we create that real-time action where we look at things in stages or things in queues and really start to open up that origination pipeline so we're not missing those opportunities. We are going faster. We can adjust our risk models. We can reach new consumer bases and really drive growth across the entire business. And so I think benchmarking is kind of the foundation of that to really help us focus those strategies. And then Insight will enable the execution against those strategies.
Chris, this has all been very insightful, and I think our viewers have learned a lot. Thank you for joining us today, and let's do it again soon.
Adam, I look forward to it. I really do, and thank you for having me here today. I appreciate it.